All right, we are going to turn now to the importance of practicing mental and emotional self-care. According to the American Psychiatric Association, Asian Americans in particular are some of the least likely to utilize psychiatric service, this despite the heightened racism experienced amidst this global pandemic.
I want to bring in now someone who can help Asian Americans and there's folks of all backgrounds find stability, empowerment in their lives. We have the author of Permission to Come Home, Dr. Jenny Wang, here in studio with us. Thank you for being here and help us understand the connection, how your upbringing, your background, your culture can have an impact or even inhibit your mental health.
You know, it used to be that when we thought about mental health, it was an individual responsibility thing. If you took care of your mental health, you exercised, you did therapy, that was kind of it. However, when we think about how somebody shows up in this world, how they interface with this world, we're really thinking about all the cultural, the history, all of those nuances really impact those places where we show up and how we show up. And so culture is intimately related to mental health because it impacts how we perceive the world.
And how the world perceives us sometimes.
Absolutely.
So you have some tips for people on wanting to get past some of those cultural roadblocks. What do you begin with?
You know, I would say that if we think about these cultural roadblocks, we have to think about in our lives, we're steeped in hierarchy, either based on age, gender, race, or ethnicity, all these different areas. And so one of the things we have to think about is, does the hierarchy structure, how does that impact how I'm showing up? And are they creating roadblocks and limiting me from doing the things I want to do in my life? And so when we think about hierarchy, we have to say to ourselves, is this leading me closer to the life I want to live, or is it leading me further away?
And one of the other tips you have, which I think is so important, is about really embracing our emotions, not trying to bury them. I used to say if you want to heal, you have to feel, but take people through that. What do you mean by embracing our emotions?
Yeah, so our emotions have a function. They exist because they were necessary for survival. So a lot of times when we feel negative emotion, we think, ooh, I don't want to feel this. I want to avoid it. I want to suppress it. The problem is that those emotions give us so much data about our lives. So it's neither good nor bad, but it's actually a flag. It says, hey, this is important. Pay attention here. There's something more to investigate. And so if we're able to be curious about that emotion and not push it aside, we might realize that there's something we need to do or something that we may change about our worldview or even about ourselves.
Do we all, your book here, the title, Permission to Come Home, but it says Reclaiming Mental Health as Asian Americans. It seems very specific, and you kind of hit on it there with culture, but do you think we should always? It's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to mental health, and even the treatment that we get, that we do need to get specific about culture. Your upbringing might need you to go this direction. Should we always? So it seems like it's something we shouldn't separate, but it sounds like you're saying it is something we need to be specific about.
I think that as individuals with multiple identities, right, we're talking about these intersectional parts of our lives, those are pieces that not everybody understands. There are certain blind spots because, you know, somebody might not identify as Asian American. And in those blind spots, people are suffering, people are in pain. And so I think we do need to speak to those unique cultural or familial, right, areas that I think really inform how we show up.
And so many of us strive for this perfection, right? And so one of your last tips is not to feel or fear failure.
Yes. You know, in Asian culture, because of our parents' struggles, there's a sense that we need to succeed. We need to, you know, honor our parents by achievement, by financial stability. And so this idea of failure, not just a failure for myself, but it's a failure for my family, for my parents. And so when we think about failure, we kind of have to reclaim it a little bit. We actually have to see that when I fail, I'm actually giving myself opportunity to stretch. I'm actually stepping outside of comfort zones and really pushing into the growth. And so when we think about failure, one of the things I always say is we're always failing upwards towards success. And if that success is something that we really prioritize, then we have to be willing to fail.
This is always a timely conversation, no matter what's going on in the news. We can have this conversation every single day. So Dr. Wang, thank you so much for being here. Congrats on the book. It's called Permission to Come Home, Reclaiming Mental Health as Asian Americans, on store shelves tomorrow. Do I have that right? Tomorrow, wherever books are sold. Thank you so much for being here. All right?
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, hey.
Hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.